Type yes in the chat box. Hope you're able to see my screen. Yes, no? Okay. Okay. Let's continue. So, yesterday we were discussing about the short data type. So, today our discussion will be on top of int data type, right? So, let us look at the hierarchy. Right? When we talk about data types are classified into two types. One is primitive and the second one is non-primitive. Right? So, under primitive, and again it is subcategorized into Boolean numeric. Right? And again under numeric, we have character, we have integer. Right? So, our discussions are no just we are discussing about this particular integer data type. Again, under integer data type, we have byte, we have short, and we have int and long. Okay, so far we have just covered these two data types, which is byte and short, right? And now we are going to discuss about integer. After completing these two, we will go with the Boolean data type. Then we will go with the character data type. After completing these two data types, we will look into this float and double. Then the concept of primitive data types will be completed. Right? So let us look into the integer data type. Let me tell you one thing. This integer data type is the common data type that is being used in Java. You find this data type everywhere in Java application. Right? So when you say data type, like when you particularly consider the integer data type, out of these four, this int data type is commonly used data type. Most frequently used data type that you can come across in Java application. At the same time, Java by default, it is going to consider the integer data type as the default data type. Right? So let me put it in the other way. For example, yesterday we were seeing some cases, right? System.out.println. Here I have an option. Let me remove this. I have an option to directly print the value. I have an option to directly print the value. So I'm not assigning, I'm not performing declaration, I'm not performing initialization, right? Directly I'm trying to print the data. So 1000 is considered as a data, isn't it? Directly I'm trying to print the data, right? Internally this data will be converted to what? It will be converted to integer data type. Right? By default, the system is going to consider the value that we are going to, I mean the integer value. If the value is an integer value, or if the value is the numeric value without the fractional part, or if the value is a whole number, it can be positive or negative number without the fractional part. Fractional without the fractional part means no, you don't have this decimal values, floating point values, right? The system is finding, if the Java is finding any value without the fractional part, right? By default, it is going to consider it as what? Integer type. It's the nature, Java nature, right? For example, so in outside, if you see, there are some prominent names given for a particular, celebrities, right? So celebrities can be identified because they are celebrities, right? But if you want to differentiate a celebrity with the common man, right? Common man won't be having a common. I mean, he would be having a common identification. Like you don't even consider him. Like you will just say, okay, he is a person. But when you talk about celebrity, you might be knowing his name and you might be knowing about his personality. Each and every detail is already known, isn't it? Right? So likewise, if something is not known, the common name is going to be what? The system is going to take considered as the default data. 1 minute, I'm getting a call. Hello. Okay, sister. Okay. Sorry. Okay, okay. No issues. நான் நீங்க பாருங்க, நான் கால் பண்றேன். Okay, I'm sorry guys, I was on call. Okay, I was saying that by default, the system is going to consider the integer data type by default, which means if you are directly trying to display any value, internally this value is going to get stored inside the memory in the form of integer data type. As simple as that. This is the first observation that is necessary to understand this integer data type. Right, so I can take this an example. Right, if I do if I try to execute this program, try to do the compilation and execution. Let me save this and let me open the command prompt. So for compilation, Java C space class name dot Java. For execution, Java space class name. The output is 100. Right. So one observation is necessary here. Right. One observation is necessary. What is that observation? Let us track this. Let us do some tracing. Right. So we know compilation has happened and execution will also happen after the successful compilation. And after this, we also know that the main thread will be created. The main thread will be created. Let us imagine that this is the main thread. This main thread will try to get access to the main method. Let me write it down here. Main thread will try to get access to the main method. Of course, there is a main method, and all the instructions inside the main method will get executed, right? But in this case, we have only one instruction. So the instruction says system.out.println, right? And it is accepting a value 1000, right? It means the 1000 needs to be displayed in the console, isn't it? But the question is how this 1000 will get stored internally. That's the question. From the memory point of view, how this 1000 is going to get stored? That's the question. Right? By default, the system is going to choose. So we have 4 integer data types. Try to understand this. You see this, we have 4 data types. Under integer data types, we have, again it is subcategories into 4 types. We have byte, we have short, we have int, and we have word. But system is going to choose. System is going to choose this one, integer, as the default memory. Right? So the 1000 will be stored in the form of 4 bytes memory. 4 bytes memory is nothing but the integer memory. So internally it will be stored like this is 1 byte, this is another byte, this is another byte, and this is another byte. 4 bytes, and each byte is collection of 8 bits. We know this already. Right? So just right. So we know this already. So when I say 1000, internally 1000 can be represented in the form of in the form of some binary number, right? So it is going to be a big number. 1000 is going to be a big number. But the data, we convert 1000. So instead of 1000, let us consider this as 10 for the simplification. Right? It's a 10 needs to be stored in the form of memory. Right? By default, it is going to consider int data type. Right? Int is nothing but it is going to occupy 4 bytes of memory. Right? Each and every byte. This is 1 byte. This is 1 byte. This is 1 byte. This is 1 byte. Each and every byte is representing 8 bits of memory. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Right? So this 10 can be represented like 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Isn't it? So everything is going to be 0 only. So for simplification, I have taken 10 as an example. Like the actual example is 1000. For simplification, I have taken 10 as example. So this is how internally it will be stored. Now tell me one thing: have we declared any data type for this particular 1000? We haven't declared any data type, but it's the computer duty. It's a Java ability to choose one data type to store this value. Right? The Java by default it is going to choose what? It is going to choose integer. The priority will be given for the integer. Making sense? Right? Because the value needs to be stored. We as a developer, we are directly trying to print the value. So we haven't performed any declaration. We haven't performed any initialization, right? We are directly trying to print the value, print the data. Can be 1000, it can be 10, it can be anything, right? There should be a way. This data needs to get stored internally inside the memory, isn't it? Right? For that, the Java is going to consider, by default, it is going to consider integer data type. Among these four, it is going to consider what? It is going to consider integer data type. Making sense? Just type as in the chat box if you have understood, so that we can proceed further. Yeah. So the conclusion is very simple. Very straightforward. Right? When you talk about integer data type, right, I can write a statement. Write a what? Write a statement like integer data type is a default data type. Default data type for all the integer values. Right? If the developer is not assigning any data and if you are trying to print the value or data directly, right, the system is going to store this value by using the data type, which data type it is going to set it as simple as that. Right? This is the what? This is a popular interview question, I can say, because these are the internal things. Right? So again, the actual four other points that one should remember is very simple. The first point is, when you talk about a data type, you should talk about its signature. So integer is a signed data type. It means it is going to represent both negative numbers as well as positive numbers. Second point is the size of integer data type is 4 bytes, which is equivalent to what? 4 into, you do 4 into 8 what? 32 bits. Converting, if you want to convert this into bits, it is going to be 32 bits. Third thing is, again, we have to talk about its default value. Again, its default value is what? Value is 0. The last point, the range. Right? What is the range? What is the least value that this data type is going to store, and what is the highest value that this data type is going to store? So the least value is minus 2147483 648. You do not have to memorize this. So we will get this number with the formula or with the legacy experiment. I have memorized this when I was learning Java, but I do not want you to memorize this. If you want to memorize, you can memorize. It's up to you. This is the value. Least value is this one, and the maximum value is this one. Any values between this can be stored in integer data, as simple as that. Right? And we know we got these numbers with we can get these numbers with the two formulas. The one approach is like the actual approach. The formula is 2 to the power of n minus 1. I mean minus 2 to the power of n minus 1 to plus 2 to the power of n minus 1 minus 1. Right? Here the n is what? Number of bits. So the number of bits are what? 32. You substitute this, you will be getting this. This is the first approach. I mean to say, you will get this ranges. First approach. Right? And the second approach is very simple. When you say 4 bytes is what? Is the combination of, or is the collection of 32 bits. Right? Each and every byte needs to be represented like this, right? One byte, and again internally it is bits. Let me make this really quick. Three, 4. right? If you want to represent a negative number, we already know in the byte sets, I mean in the bits, if you want to represent a negative number, the most significant bit. When I say most significant bit, we are going to talk about the leftmost bit, right? The leftmost bit should be what? Should be 1, right? And if you want to find the least number that this integer data type is going to accommodate, the approach is very simple. The leftmost bit should be what? 1. This is what most significant bit should be 1, and keep everything till everything as 0. Everything should be what? 0. Before doing this, let me copy this. Let me copy this so that I can reuse this over and over again. Okay. So I was talking about the most significant bit. The most significant bit should be 1 when you want to represent a negative number. 1, and keep place everything, fill the remaining bits with the bit zeros. Everything will be 0. Right? And if you do the conversion, you try to find the this is the binary equivalent. If you want to find the decimal equivalent, right, add 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, right, and keep going. You will get 2 to the power of 31, right? Substitute this 2 to the power of, just try to find 2 to the power of 31, you will be getting this value. Since it is the most significant bit is 1, keep the negative side, and the value that you will be getting is what? 214748 3648. This is the other way. This is a legacy way to find the least number, and to find the maximum number that it can accommodate, the same rule, but this time the most significant bit is going to be what? The most significant bit is going to be 0. To represent the positive number is going to be 0, right? And everything is going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So binary number, a big binary number, convert it to decimal number, you will be getting what? You will be getting this range, the maximum range, which is 2147483647. As simple as that. This is the second way of doing this, but I do not want you to do all these things, but if you keep practicing like this, you can able to understand how the memory is getting allocated internally. For the next few days, when you are working with bit manipulations, when you are working with the primitive data types concepts, this is how you need to imagine. Imagination is very important because it is going to build an intuition, right? So this intuition will help you to solve out, or it will help you to approach the problems so that the problems can be solved in the effective manner. That's the reason why I am bringing this concept into, right? So we got to know how to find these values, and there is default size is 0, and it is signed, and we know why it is signed, because it is going to represent both negative and positive. We know why it is 32 bits. Let us do some calculations on this, right? Then we will jump into the long data type. So this is going to be very easy, since we have already understood about the byte and short data type. These things are going to be very easy. Okay? So now let me take integer. So again, let us say that I am going for an hotel. So this time I am going to take a cup of tea, 10 rupees, and I am taking snacks, 20 rupees, right? Int bill equal to tea plus snacks. Right? Here I am doing what? Bill. Now what will be the answer? Anticipated answer. Very easy. Nursery level question. So please do not give the wrong answer. Very simple question. Answer me. Nursery level question. 30. Yeah, very simple. Sir, what is this, sir? You are giving us the very simple solution, very simple problems. Yes, you are correct. So the idea is I already discussed something extra day, if you remember, right? This plus operator, right? When you do plus operator, see, let me take this. Let us go back to this page screen. So when you talk about plus operator, or when you're introducing a plus operator to perform some mathematical operations, right? This plus, the duty of the plus operator is to look into its either sides, right? Right side, the left side, operands. It will ensure if the developer has declared this particular operand with int data type. If it is int, okay. If it is int, okay, no issues. So I can also say that int equal to int plus int is a valid condition, isn't it? Completely valid. Right now, the second problem case, right? Now answer me. Think and answer me. These things are not really difficult. Just focus on answer. Yes, 30. Exactly, it's 30 because same thing, right? Why 30? Very simple. T plus snacks. So even though they are the part of these variables are declared with by data type, right? Even though the variables are declared by data type, but the cumulative output or the resultant value is going to be what? Int, right? So what I have said, plus is going to expect an int, right? If the expectations is not reached, it will check the resultant data type. The resultant data type is what? Integer. Let me bring this here. Right. So firstly, it will check for. It will look into the either sides. Okay, this is what? This is of byte type. This is of byte type. So byte type, and this is of what? Byte type. It's not happy because both are in the form of declared in the form of byte types. But it will also do another check. What check it is going to do? Whether the resultant variable is declared with integer or not. Yes. Resultant variable is declared with what? Integer data type, isn't it? So this is also valid. Byte plus byte. This is also a valid combination. Making sense? Okay. So let us run this. I'm saving this program and let me open my command prompt. No issues, no errors. Output is crystal clear 30. Right? If I do short, any changes? Valid or invalid? Just type valid or invalid. Valid, good. Valid combination, isn't it? No matter what, the resultant is always int data type. Right? And if I do this, right? Now tell me, valid or invalid? Of course, it's invalid. Why it is invalid? We know. It's exact. It is invalid just because it is violating the, it's already violating the two rules. Right? So what I am speaking about, if you take this particular line, right, let me put this line here. Right? Snacks is part of its data type. I think it's byte, isn't it? Snack is part of bytes. Snack is not. T is byte. Right. Firstly, this operator will look into either side. So both are possessing or both are holding up the different data types. Not the expected. This is holding short. This is holding T. Sorry, what I'm talking about. This is holding byte. Okay. Even though, right, if these two data types are not getting satisfied by this particular operator, it will look for the resultant data type. Resultant data type must be int, but here in this case it is short. So it's a kind of what? It is unacceptable thing for this particular plus operator. Plus operator is not going to encourage this. So I can simply say that right? Short it cannot be, or short equal to byte plus short is not a valid one, invalid, as simple as that, right? So the conclusion is very simple. You can have any data types, anything you can have, right? It can be what, integer, and it can be what, short. Data types you can have, but the resultant should always be int. Making sense, right? So this is all about short data type. And there was a question asked by Shashwant yesterday. He was like, it was a good question actually. See, the question was like, he asked me, if I have this, for example, short bill equal to 1000, and static short bill equal to 10,000, right? So I have two datas. Try to understand. I have two datas. Short bill equal to 1000 and static short bill equal, and we know the static. Forgot about the static. When you are trying to declare any data type outside the method, for the time being, keep it as static. We'll discuss about the static in the future, right? But here the idea is, I have declared a data type. The identifiers are named. Bill is as same as this bill. I mean, both the identifiers are same, right? Now the question is, what if I run this program? If I do the compilation, if I run this program, what is the possible output that we can anticipate? Can you type in the chat box? This question was asked by Shashwant. I will help you with the tracing. I forgot to help you with the tracing. First, you tell me what would be the possible answer. Okay, Samita says 1000. Okay, 1000. Yeah, Darshini Samita 1000. Okay, correct. Your answer is correct. Right? But we must understand why we are getting 1000. Right? So let us run this for tracing this part. Java C space hotel.java and Java space hotel. So 1000, you are correct, absolutely correct. No issues. Let me copy this for the tracing purpose. Let us use some space. Okay, let me use the space. So now understand one thing. Here I have declared two variables with the same name, with the same identifier. Right? So bill, same identifiers are used. Identifiers are same. Okay? But these identifiers, these data types are placed in different scopes. Try to understand that. This data is placed in the method level scope or local scope. Method scope, or we can also say that local scope. Any data that is that gets placed inside a method is called as what? The method level data, or the scope is called as method scope or the local scope. If it is placed outside the method, we call it as what? Class level scope, right? But here we are trying to access an identifier which is placed inside the method as well as which is also placed outside the method, right? For example, if you are studying in your college, there are high chances that you can see a person, I mean, you can see two person assigned to the same name. There are high chances. Like if you take my name Balaji, you can find many persons in the name of Balaji within the same class, right? So if the teacher of the faculty calls Balaji, right, which Balaji will respond? That's the question, isn't it? Two Balajis are there. So the faculty must ensure the correct Balaji is getting identified, isn't it? Likewise, Java, the main thread will get created. This main thread will try to, after while executing, the main thread will get created. Main thread will try to get access to the main method. All instructions inside the main method will be executed, isn't it? So, right? So, firstly, it encoders the identifier bill, right? Firstly, it will give priority to the local variable. Locally, it will check if there is any variable in the name of bill. already a variable name is there, so the priority will be given to this local variable, right? If this variable is not there, then the priority will be given, the next variable, it will be looking for the variable in the class level. Then the output will be what? 10,000. Right? So to understand this, let us make small changes. Now you tell me what could be the output. Tell me, come on. This is also a popular interview question. So when I say popular interview question, it is popular because this is how the questions are asked. The questions are placed in the notepad, right? You will have to tell them the answer. Very simple, very simple, program. Just have to guess the output. As simple as that. Right now, you tell me the output. I am taking the interview. Tell me the output. Valid, invalid, whatever it is. Think and tell me the output. Hello. Samyukta, Ganesh, Darshini. Okay. Darshini. Okay. Darshini. Okay. Chaitanya says invalid. Ganesh says 10,000. Let us wait for Samyukta's answer. 1,000, 2,000. Okay. So the answer is, it's not we are not supposed to say invalid. So let us try to run this, right? Let me save this compilation. See, we get compile time error. See, the error is variable bill is already defined. Okay? So this is the error that we are getting. Why we are getting this error? I will give you the explanation. But observe one thing. In our previous classes, I was telling you about the duplication. If you remember, duplication. If you want duplicate any variable name, right? You can duplicate the identifier, or you can duplicate the variable name and in different scopes, but in the same scope, in the same method scope. For example, in this case, this is a variable bill and this is a variable bill, right? Both are identified with the same name, but with different values. That is secondary, but identified with the same name. If you are trying to access bill, the compiler will get confusion. When I say compiler try to perform the compilation. Compiler will be like, Balaji, what's wrong with you? You are asking me to get access to what? Right? You are asking me to print the bill, but I can able to see two bills. Which bill I need to print? That confusion will be, that is an ambiguity situation the compiler encounters, right? This is possible. If I remove this, both are in the different scope. This is possible. First, it will look in the method level, then it will go for, if it is not there, then it will check in the class level. Since it is already in the method level or in the local scope, it will not worry about this. Even though the names are same, but they are placed in the different scopes. But this is the same scope. It is just like the real-time example, right? To go to the restaurant, right? So I am taking the example of restaurant every time because it's very easy to remember. When you go to the restaurant, the restaurant people, they usually give you what give you the list of items, food items that is available in the restaurant, right? Is there any possibility for you to see like, right? Is there any possibility like, there is a tab called Upma. Upma is 100 rupees. Tea is 10 rupees, and idli is 20 rupees. Is there any chances like again Upma is equal to 300 rupees? Duplication, isn't it? Right? You will get confused or not? Right? You will get confused, right? Same thing, computer system will get confused. Right? When you want to duplicate anything, of course you can duplicate the variable name. In this case, the variable name is bill. You can duplicate, but ensure that this duplication is happening in the different scopes. You can use this bill here and here, but you cannot use duplicate. I mean, you cannot duplicate within the same scope. Right? This is going to give us what? Compile time error. Compile time error. Why compile time error? after compilation, right? I mean, while compiling the code, let the compiler will look for the structure of the code. Structure of the code in the sense, inside the main method, it will identify each and every identifier. If it finds any identifier with the same name, if it finds any identifier in duplication, it's not going to compile. That's why we got what? The error. Variable bill is already very straightforward error, right? Making sense? Just type as in the chat box if it is making sense. Understood this concept? Okay. Duplication. So let me remove this. Now tell me, think and tell me. There is a lot of difference between duplication and reassignation. Try to understand. Previously, it was duplication. Now you tell me the answer. This is also an interview question. Now you tell me the answer. Think and tell me the answer. Okay, Chaitanya says error. No issues. Whatever it is, but answer me, whatever it is. Samyukta, Darshini, Ganesh, answer to this question. Answer to this question. You got to know about you understood about the duplication, but this is a different question, right? Just try to look at this particular problem and try to guess the answer. What is the anticipated output or what is the possible output? Come on, make it fast, Ganesh. Samyukta, Darshini. Don't know? Whatever it is, just type it to the chat box. No problem. I will be explaining it. I just want to make sure your thought process. That's it. Don't know, sir. This is the correct answer if I can use. Darshini, don't know, sir. Okay, Samyukta. Everyone admitted that they don't know. Okay, so this is good. Whatever it is, you should answer. Okay, that's my intention. My intention is not to point you out. I want answers from you. That's it. So the answer is, let me run this. Java C space hotel.java. The answer is 2000. Now you should ask me, sir, why it is 2000? This is also duplication. Understand one thing, this is not duplication. Why this is not duplication? So let me rewrite this in the paint box. This is a complete valid program. Right? So compilation, right? See, look at this line. Dot bill equal to 1000. Okay, and secondly, I'm saying bill equal to 2000. It means it is like a correction. It's just like it's a concept of reassignation. Right? In this case, in the memory, firstly, the bill will be pointing towards a value. The value is what? 1000. Right? What I am doing? I'm trying to correct this information. Right? Incorrectly, I have declared it as 1000, but I want to make some corrections. To make some corrections, I will not be using the data type. I will just be using the variable name and I will be assigning a corrected value, a new value, right? So in the second line, what happens? This 1000 will be replaced with 2000, right? The third line, we are trying to print what? We are trying to print bill, and the value of bill is what? 2000. This is called reassignation. Try to understand. When you say in not only short anything, byte b equal to 10, valid, b equal to 20, valid, system dot out dot println trying to get access to b, valid, output is going to be 20. When it is invalid, byte b equal to 10, right? And again if I take the for the second line, if again I am trying to consider the data type once again, it is going to be a duplication. It is a invalid. This one is invalid. Right? This concept is called duplication. This concept is called the reassignation. Reassignation. Sorry, forgive my handwriting. Reassignation. Understood? Just type yes in the chat box if this concept is making sense. We'll discuss few more questions and Darshan, Chaitanya, Samyukta. Yeah. So this is a concept of now. So little more question after completing this, we will rightly jump into long data type. So short will okay this time. Let me take. Now think and tell me. My intention is not to confuse you. My intention is to get the subject, get you give you the what? Give you the quality subject. Now you tell me the output. Now you tell me the output. If I do this, compiler is happy or compiler is unhappy? Error. Ganesh says error. Error. Chaitanya is also saying errors. Samyukta, Darshini. Error. Okay, error. If you say error from your perspective, no issues, but if you are saying error just because others are saying error, it is not good. Yes, it is error because same concept, short, int. Should not be short. Okay, if you are trying to declare any other data type apart from short, can be short, it can be any other data type, but it ensure that the same variable is not duplicated. This is invalid. You are correct. Now, now, yes, exactly. Correct. I hope you got the question. You got the topic. Right, this concept, this is called reassignation, right? Duplication comes into picture when you try to use the data type along with the duplicate variable, right? This is what, and again if I remove this is not a duplication because both are placed in the different scopes. Now you tell me static short will equal to 2000. Duplication or it is valid? Last question. Duplication. Let me repeat my definition. Same scope, duplicate. Different scope, no duplicates. Now this is bill is within the same scope. Duplicate or not? Duplication or not? Look at this data type. Bill. Placed in the class level scope. It means duplication, isn't it? What I have said, what the theory says, duplication is not allowed in the same scope. It is allowed in the different scope. Right? So the compiler will do what? Compiler will throw error. Correct? Yes or no? Right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Duplication. Variable bill is already different. Are you able to get my the things that I am trying to deliver? Duplication here. Are you confused or what? Just want to understand the state of your mind. Are you confused or it is crystal clear? If you want me to repeat this once again, I will do the repetition. No issues. Darshini, Chaitanya, able to follow? Finding it any difficulties? Please put something in the chat box. Okay. Okay, let us keep this interactive because I must know whether you are able to follow or not. That's my intention. Okay. So this is all about the integer data type. So the takeaway is very simple. When you talk about integer data type, right? For every data type, will keep talking about 4 points. It's signed and the size, the default value, and okay, default value. Right. So let us. If I'm not assigning any value in the class level scope, if I'm not assigning any value in the class level scope, it is possible. The class level scope, it is not mandatory to do the assignation. To the assignation, it's not mandatory, right? In this case, the compiler is going to print a value which is called as a default value. So the default value for the integer data type, not short. Default value for the integer data type is also 0. So where is the proof, sir? I try to print this 0, answer is 0. Default value is 0, but declaration, only declaration is possible in the class level scope. But if you want to identify, if you want to represent any variable in the method level scope, you do three things, three consecutive things. What is that? Declaration, initialization, and access. So just remember that DIA. Yeah, you should follow this. Declaration, after declaration, initialization, after that we should access. Should not violate this sequence. Making sense? Right? If you are not understanding this, repeat watch the extra days videos. You will be able to follow. Okay. So let us jump into the long data type. Long. Let me save this. File, save, class 42. File. Now the new topic is long data type. This is a last data type under the integer data type. Long data type. So the 4 points. What are the 4 points? The size of the long data type is what? 8 bytes. Remember this. And it is a signed data type, which means it is going to represent both negative and positive number. The third point is the values, the range is very going to represent the huge value of number, very big value of negative number, I mean very smallest number, and the very big value of the positive number. For that, the default here for this, the default value is, usually the default value is 0, but internally, like how the computer is going to display is, the default value is going to be 0 L. L is nothing but like a long data type. You cannot visibly see this while when it is getting displayed in the console. Visibly it is not seen, but internally it is going to use the character L. 0 L is the actual default value of long data type, not 0 L. But you just see 0, you don't see this L. But when someone is asking you what is the default value for long data type, you should answer 0 L. L is representing what? L is representing the long data type. And the range is it is a very big number. A big number in the sense the negative number is going to start from 9 minus 2. This one is plus 0. So this is the range of long data type. So you can represent a large numbers, very large numbers, numbers with high degree of range. Very large numbers can be stored in the long data type. Right? So the formula to find this, we know the formula, isn't it? I don't think I need to give this explanation. The formula is very self-explanatory, right? Minus 2 to the power of 64. Why 64? 8 bits. 8 bytes. 8 bytes is nothing but 8 into 8 bits, which means 64 bits. 64 minus 1, 2, or 2 to the power of 64 minus 1 minus 1. To substitute this, you will get what? You will get this. Right? And the second substitution is very, you know that already, right? 8 bytes, right? It should be like, must be taking 8 boxes. Each box is representing what? 8 bits. I do not want you to, perform this like this. Very big number, isn't it? So that's why internally the memory allocation is like eight bits. For the negative number, the first more significant is going to be 1, and the remaining everything is going to be 0. Let me take big 0. Everything is going to be 0. Everything is going to be 0, 0, 0. Right? And this value, most significant bit value is what? Minus 2 to the power of 3. Everything is 0. If you calculate this, you will get the least number that can be stored in the long data type. Likewise, for the positive number, you will do the opposite thing, like the way we did for the integer data type. As simple as that. This is a simple way of calculating the things. Instead of memorizing this is how you approach to calculate these actual values. I do not want you to memorize. If anyone is asking you about the range, you just tell them this is a formula to find the range. Right? No one is going to ask you about this. You do not want to memorize this. Just try to memorize this formula. That's it. Formula is minus 2 to the power of n minus 1 to 2 to the power of n minus 1 minus 1, where n is the number of bits. This is all about the long data type, and there are some problems on top of long data type. So let us understand this. Right? Now you tell me one thing. We have a value like, for example, integer. Let us say same hotel example. Total example, I just consumed a cup of coffee this time. Price of the coffee is 10. I'm printing coffee. Now tell me which data type is appropriate in this situation to store the value 10. Which one is appropriate? Integer is appropriate, or byte is appropriate, or short is appropriate, or long is appropriate? Tell me the answer. Which data type is justified here? Instead of using justification, I can also say which data type can help us to save a lot of memory. Now tell me one thing. Can I use? I can represent this coffee with any data type. Yes or no? Tell me. Can I represent coffee with any data type? Yes or no? Just to tell me that. Yes, correct. I can represent, but the appropriate way of declaring the data type is by choosing the least data type where we can save a lot of memory. Right? If I do this, the answer is going to be same. 10 will be displayed in the console, but how much memory it is going to consume? Just 1 byte, isn't it? 1 byte. No, you should think in a way that when the program is designed, you should also think about the memory consumption. Right? The optimization will be done. The optimization of the program will be done only by considering the memory consumption and the performance. These two things are going to play the major role when you are designing an application. It should consume least memory, at the same time it should be efficient. Right? So byte is the appropriate value. But if I use long, right, the output, I can get the output. No issues with the output, but the problem is long is going to consume 8 bytes of memory. To store the same value is going to consume more memory. It is a waste of memory, isn't it? This is one observation. The second observation is, I will just introduce this. Tomorrow we will discuss on this. This is also going to be a very, very interesting topic. So now you tell me. So I have a data type like long car. The price of the car What about the car? Let us take okay. Let us take car, or let us take aeroplane. So this is a costly aeroplane, of $1 billion, right? The international mission. But try to print this. Now you tell me what will be the output. Whether it is, let me add two more things. Whether it is accepted or it is not accepted. And let me also say that this value, this particular value that I have defined here, right, is falling within this long range. But I want you to tell me whether this is valid or invalid. Just tell me valid or invalid. Tell me valid or invalid. Not valid, invalid, Darshini Samyukta, invalid, valid. Okay, why you are saying invalid first of all? I am happy with your answers, but why invalid? As per my theory, right? My theory, not my theory, as per the long data type definition, right? These are the possible ranges that possible values that the long data. I mean, you see the range, see the value that I am assigning here is falling within this range. Yes or no? First, tell me, answer me that. Yeah, Ganesh, you are right. Yes, Ganesh, you are right. But let me bring the concept in. You are right. Samyukta, you are right. Technically, you are right, Samyukta. And Ganesh is also right because Ganesh has said that something. Samyukta, you are also technical right, but it is invalid only. Answer is invalid only. I will tell you why it is invalid. I will tell you why it is invalid. Here, see, the error says integer too large. It says integer number too large. It says. Let me copy this error. Samyukta, technically you are valid, but I will give you the explanation. As per the long data type definition, your answer is valid. But we are getting an error. Why you are getting this error? Very simple. This part is, we need to do some more analysis on this part. Because I've already said the things that we are defining here. Yeah, sorry about that. It was disconnected. I was already telling you, right? Yeah, thank you for rejoining, guys. Actually, I was already telling you. Darshini is unable to join. Okay, got it. Okay, your answers are valid. One or the other way, your answers are valid according to the theory. According to your understanding, it is valid. Okay, but let us try to understand why the compiler is showing an error. Very simple. You just observe this. The system.out.println, right? The whatever you give, whatever the data type that you give, whatever the identifier that you give, it is always going to consider what integer. So everything will be by default. I was saying in the previous data type definition for the integer data type definition, I was saying that by default the system is going to consider what integer, right? Remember or not? By default it is going to consider. But you can ask me, sir, by default is integer only if we are not specifying the data type. But here we have specified the data type already. Then why the default, the concept of default values is not going to get applied here. Yes or no? Yes. But the problem here is when you say long, you should also specify that at the end of the value, it's your responsibility to specify the keyword L. Now this is valid. When you're using long data type, it's your responsibility, right? After the value, it's your responsibility to include the character L, right? After including the character L, the data that we are trying to get access from here, it will understand the value that we are trying to access is what? Long data type, not integer data type. Right? Let me run this. See, now we don't see any errors. Now the answer is very simple, straightforward. Right? Because by default, right, internally it is going to convert the data type as integer data type only. Java will do that. We are not sure why Java is doing, why Java is always doing that, because it is something that is how the Java program is designed internally. Right? And again, right? So we are ensuring that. So when we are declaring long data type, we are telling what this value that we are storing here is of long type. This detail is also necessary to be included. This only declaring is not sufficient. Along with this long data type declaration, we should also declare the character L at the end of the value. This is an exceptional case. Don't get confused. An exceptional case for the long data. But if I remove this, even though it is long, it is going to treat this as integer data type, but it is when you consider this value, it is out of the integer range. That's why we are getting it. To avoid that confusion, what we are going to do, we are specifying a character L. Right now, it will check. Okay, the value is of long type. It is not integer anymore. Right? Then the aeroplane is going to be of long type. Then the output is compilation gets successful. You will get the output. This is an exceptional case. We will see a few more problems on this particular exceptional case tomorrow. It's just an introduction, right? When you use long, it's also your duty to include the keyword or include the character L at the end of the value, because the system.out.println statement, right? Always it will convert each and every value to integer data type by default. By default, it will convert each and every value to int type. But we are placing some restriction by giving this character L. It means do not convert it to int, consider it as long itself. Making sense? This is what the restrictions that we are telling to the compiler. Never convert this to int. Consider it as long itself. Because of this, it is going to consider it as long instead of int. If you remove this, it will consider this as int only. Right, so this data will not be fit inside the integer memory space. That's why we are getting error. We have got that error previously. Making sense? Just type yes or no in the chat box, whatever it is. Making sense? Darshini, Samyukta, Chaitanya, Ganesh. See, if you have online compiler, right? In the online compiler, just try to repeat this video once again. Do some practice, right? If you did not install Java, I recommend you to install Java. But at the same time, if you want to perform execution in a faster way, you can use online compiler. Right? Try to do these functions. Java online. Just type Java online compiler. You will get the first information is Java online Java compiler. Go here and do some practice. Just give values and run. You will get answers. You will be able to understand. Without practice, right? We cannot proceed further. The things will not make any sense if you don't do any practice. Practice is necessary. So when you do practice, the intuition will be developed, and you will get capability to approach problems in different ways. And I will make these things very fast, and after completing this long data type, right, remaining data types are going to be very easy. It will not take much time. And after that, we will start working on the bit manipulations problems. The problems on bit manipulations. We have discussed about bitwise operators, if you remember or not. So we will be solving at least 10 to 12 problems on bitwise operators. Then we will start discussing about Java conditional statements. Right? After conditional statement, loops, then arrays. Right? So with this knowledge, you will be confident enough to write a Java program. There are so many concepts we're going to discuss in the future, but these are the fundamentals, complete fundamentals. Right? So I've taken a lot of your time today. It's already exceeded 10 minutes of time. Any questions for me?